The Buy African to Change Africa, I think, is an important agenda for Africa, mainly because of the situation we find ourselves. That today, the levels of poverty are so high, levels of unemployment are so high. And again, this is not Henry's vision. It's basically the African Union vision. So we're trying to do our part to contribute to that vision. It is important because out of this, we'll create jobs. Out of this, we'll be able to feed Africa. Out of this, we'll be able to feed the world. Out of this, we'll be able to reduce the levels of inequality.
How have you managed through this campaign to leverage buy-in from African entrepreneurs, from African business owners, from African brands? What has been the buy-in?
Well, we are still at the very onset of it, but what should be or what is a buy-in? The buy-in is basically the fact that for those who are producers within the continent, we want to give them a platform to be able to sell. Currently, they have no idea, there are very few platforms that will tell you where XY products can be sold and who needs them. What we are hoping to do with our campaign is to put an online platform and online platforms in form of a magazine, in form of an app, in form of our website, and the various social media platforms. So by so doing, we are almost driving the continent to buy from within. And we are doing this through what we call our call to action. Our call to action is basically targeted at consumers, at business, as well as governments. What are we saying? We have got three key messages. The first one, we are asking consumers on the continent to almost take a conscious decision to buy more made in Africa products. Secondly, we are asking business to sell more made in Africa products. Thirdly, we are asking governments to do more to support local producers, local farmers, and local manufacturing. By so doing, we'll be creating more jobs, we'll be creating better, we'll have finances to finance our education, our health, because the state will be able to make revenue out of it, and also will be able to reduce inequality.
And
so
you'll be building the confidence of entrepreneurship in Africa as well, building on that confidence and that growth in entrepreneurship.
Exactly, and we are part of an entrepreneur platform called the Hookup Dinner. It's a very exciting platform we've been part of, and it's growing in Africa and beyond. So entrepreneurs are part of this conversation. Those that are startups, in terms of coming up with innovations, we are saying, look, the market is ready on the continent. And we coming also from a history where the African Union and the Economic Commission for Africa did a study that estimates that intra-Africa trade among African countries, is at about 13 to 14%, whereas intra-Europe trade is at 60%. So oftentimes we trade more with outsiders than we do with ourselves. And yet the benefits of trading among ourselves is that wealth will remain on the continent, make our economies great, but also change our lives.
Let me ask you why? Why from your research is trade higher with the rest of the world than within the continent? Is it a question of challenges? Is it a question of a lack of confidence? Or is it a question of an ongoing culture in Africa to trade with the rest of the world?
Well, the barriers to intra-Africa trade are many, but the key ones are, there are political or policy reasons. Our leaders haven't done enough coming from political independence towards economic independence. They've been very slow in putting in measures that should accelerate intra-Africa trade. I'm so glad that today we have the Continental Free Trade Area that was launched in Johannesburg about 2 years ago. We also have the Tripartite Free Trade Area. So there are policies now in place. The practice is still lagging behind. That's the first thing. The second one is also us, the Africans. I think, we are our appetite for foreign is very high, not realizing that by so doing, we are actually exporting wealth, in some ways importing poverty. Why should we be importing tomato sauce? Why should we be importing rice? I mean, there's plenty of rice being produced in Malawi and in many other countries. There's cashew nuts. But you find that these products are actually bought by the same developing countries, or developed countries, sorry, at a very, very, lower price, very, very, reduced price. And then they are sent back to Africa as finished products. And that has disadvantages. And yet, looking within the continent, we're calling for a mission where we're saying economic borders must fall, so that we must be able to do trade with each other. So to start with our mindset, I think we need to develop interest. We need to take a conscious decision to be able to appreciate our own made in Africa products. I'm aware and I know that our production levels are still at a very basic level. I mean, in many countries, there's no infrastructure. What is going to build that infrastructure is not our appetite for foreign, but is our appetite for local. And so we have countries like South Africa that is the economic headquarters or the industrial headquarters of Africa that should help other African countries in rolling out innovations, technology, infrastructure, so that countries that are at the very bottom or at the middle level are able to lift up that. And at the end of the day, it will not only be a win for South Africa, it will be a win for Africa.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very inspiring talking to you. My last question is, how can people find you? How can entrepreneurs find out more about your campaign?
Well, we are online. We have a Facebook page, Buy African to Change Africa. Secondly, we have a website, buyafrican.co.za. We'll be rolling out a few other platforms like our marketing magazine and our mobile app. But our core for now is that for anyone that is producing made in Africa products, please do get in touch with us. We are in Maboneng at the Open, which is a very common place when you come to Maboneng. Do drop us an email, get to our Facebook page, contact us, because it is you we exist for. We want to expose, we want to market African products within the continent and beyond, so that there will be no excuse when people come from outside or from within to say, well, you said buy African, but where are the products? Who has them? So we want to make that information available, and by so doing, we'll create demand, we'll create more jobs, we'll reduce inequality, and together as a continent, we'll win.
Fantastic. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Very inspiring.